Okay, we're good.
Cool. So, yeah, I think you know a little bit about me based on the email I sent you. But yeah, for the past, I'd say the past year, I've just been kind of feeling a little lost. Like I've had a lot of great opportunities in terms of my career so far, and I've been able to like run my own business, been able to know what it's like to like be able to travel, make make some good above par money, and I'm just like kind of feeling a little stuck. And now I've just kind of taken a step back and I'm like, okay, do I want this for the rest of my life? You know? And
Yeah.
the only thing I've really known it was to work in this field.
The
So now,
construction, right?
yeah, in construction. So now taking a step back, I'm like, wait, what do I do? Where do I start? Where do I find this like inspiration? Um, and I'm almost thinking that like, you don't your purpose just doesn't like come to you like this overnight. Like you don't just have an idea and like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I feel like it's through trial and error of different things. Um, and I wanted to know like what you think about that.
Where do you find your disengagement? Like, what would you believe your disengagement is caused by? Is it the industry? Is it the role within the industry? Is it your environment? What would you say
That's
to that?
that's a really good question. I feel like part of it, maybe it is the industry as a whole. Um, I've never really put a lot of thought into that before,
Okay.
but
My next question. So that's the first thing is auditing what is causing this displeasure and this
mm,
disengagement. It very well could be the industry. Maybe you
yeah,
don't like the blue collaredness of it. Maybe you don't like the early mornings of it, or the whatever the circumstance might be. So do a deep dive in that. And when I do an audit of my engagement, I don't bring technology with me. It's kind of like a kumbaya time. It's just a notebook. And I just let these thoughts come out of me. And then I look at it. I'm like, what did I just write down? And what is the common theme? And that will bring you closer toward your answer. When it
yeah,
comes to understanding what your purpose is, I'll share what mine is. And to your point, didn't happen overnight.
right,
My purpose is just like leading people and helping them achieve their goals. And I know that that might sound like a platitude and something for the media, but it's very, very genuine. Um, for me, it doesn't matter about the industry. My engagement in hospitality is the same when I am advising a dental practice, which I do in outside of Toronto. It's the same when I speak on stage. So my purpose is leading people to deliver better experiences to other people, being customers. If we were to talk about the commerce side of things and like my business aspect of it. So when you audit your engagement and your fulfillment and happiness, take time and think like, when am I my most engaged? For me, it's when I'm leading people. For you, it might be interacting with contractors, interacting with whomever, or it
yeah,
might not be that at all. You said you spent some time traveling,
yeah,
right? Within the last 12 to 18 months.
yeah,
Okay. There was probably some fulfillment there. Now, I'm not suggesting like go just keep traveling, but along your travels, you probably thought of something you're like, that would be super cool. The thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to restrict yourself and say, oh, well, I couldn't possibly build a career out of that. And I'll give you, like, even if it sounds obscure, I'll give you an example of a guy named on Instagram and social media. He goes by Nomadic Matt, and he wrote a book. I'm paraphrasing, but it's how to travel the world on $50 a day. So if he had, and he's been doing this for 10 years, and if he had told somebody like that's what I'm going to do, wouldn't people, like it probably sounded nuts to him, but
For sure.
he made it happen. It also, for me to have achieved a goal of speaking in front of, thousands of people at a Subway conference, like that sounded crazy to people. And even to myself as well too. But
But that's the stuff that like kind of excites me. Those things that are like, so it feels so out of reach, but like you almost know that anything is possible. Like those things are possible.
yeah,
And like I think like for me, public speaking, I'm really afraid of it. But that's also one of the reasons why it kind of interests me a lot too.
the reason people go skydiving, right? Like even though they're like
Yeah.
crap scared of it.
Yeah.
Um, there's something that I want you to look into and
Okay.
research, and it's going to help you create a framework of what you want the next 4 years of your life to look like.
Hmm.
Google painted picture 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and spend the weekend researching everything you can that comes up on page one of Google about it. But essentially what it is it's a document that you write 4 years out. So for example, I'm working on mine right now. I'm assuming it's the year 2020. I'm writing it like it's the year 2024 and I've accomplished all these things. So for example, it could read like this: I'm the CEO of a company that has 100 retail locations and thousands of employees. I was just voted Entrepreneur of the Year in Canada. We were recognized as one of the fastest growing companies in Canada. My relationship with my parents is the strongest it's ever been. My body fat percentage is X. So it allows you to envision what the next 4 years looks like, and then you just reverse engineer it, which is,
Right. I've heard of this theory before, of like almost writing out what you want and like kind of reviewing it every single day, becoming more familiar with it,
absolutely.
until you kind of reprogram your subconscious into thinking, hey, that's actually going to happen.
So
And
for me, if you like, I swear by visualization and kind of like the mental training that goes into achieving a goal. If you wanted to drive from Toronto to Miami, you could follow your GPS and have a plan, or you could just try to figure it out without the plan. I'm sure you'll still get to Miami, but it's going to take you double the amount of time, and it's going to cost you double the amount of money in gas and all that.
right.
So that's why I'm huge on creating concrete plans that you don't deviate from. A lot of what I see a lot of people do, which I think is inaccurate, is they'll create a plan, they'll see themselves struggling, they'll change the plan to make it more manageable. I'm like, no, that doesn't help you, and your grit and your perseverance is like, you have to create the plan and be so content. And it does have to be realistic, but you have to be so content that that is what I want my life to look like. And
Yeah.
don't allow yourself to deviate from the plan and make it easier for yourself. But I wanted to go back to the like your fulfillment, your engagement, what can you do? It might sound like a rudimentary first step, but take some time to yourself, get out of the city, perhaps get out of, put your phone away, put your laptop away, and just be like, when am I when am my most jacked up, my most engaged, when am I most fulfilled? And start documenting things. And it might not hit you in just a 1 hour session sitting by yourself with a coffee. You might need to write some things down, put it away, come back a week later, write some more things down, put it away, and come back. Like this isn't going to happen overnight. Um,
Right.
it took me a while to figure out what, it took me years to really get super clear on what it was at engagement.
Were you, I know you worked at 1-800-GOT-JUNK
Yep.
and you built your MBA, so to say, there.
Yes.
And then what happened in between there and then when you started your business? Like, did you take some time off? Was there like an awkward period where you kind of didn't know, but you knew what you wanted to do?
No, I was really clear. It took me about a year to figure out exactly what I wanted to do after I joined the company. Like I knew I wanted to build a business, but that's so vague, right? Like I was like,
Right.
well, type of business. And I was like, I don't know yet, but something will come. And as I was, working diligently with 1-800 Got Junk, I recognized that, building strong relationships with customers and employees and the strategies that go into that is, very advantageous for a company to grow.
Mhm.
From there, I recognized, you know what? I actually want to help companies build these strategies. So but I knew that I needed to cut my teeth and earn some credibility. So I stayed 4 more years with the company to earn that credibility. And then in 2012, so after 5 years of being with the company, I ventured off on my own and started this very small consulting agency. Like it was just me, and it was very tough, man. First 6 months was very tough. Like
Right.
no guaranteed paycheck every 2 weeks. Move back in with your parents. I'm in my mid 20s. Borrowing money from anybody that would even give me the opportunity to borrow money from. Like it was tough, man. But it's not supposed to be easy. I don't think
Right.
anybody would ever say it's supposed to be
I,
easy. So,
I I think that's the best part of it. That's the beauty of it. It's like, now you're in obviously a better position. You knew eventually you'd get there. You'd be here and you're gonna be even hopefully even further. But I think just enjoying that process, like that's the feeling that I want, you know? I'm
it,
also
it,
chasing that kind of feeling where I'm like, at least I know I'm working towards something. I mean, like I honestly I have lots of resources in my business. I've already thought of maybe one or two other businesses that could branch off from what I'm doing now, and they interest me. But I don't know. I figured if there's a chance now to try something completely different, it would be now. Now that I'm 25.
Oh, you're 25, man.
Yeah.
I just met somebody, another young professional like yourself who's 25. I'm like, that's the golden years, man. You've got it. You're youthful. You can still stumble and make mistakes.
So
I'm
this is
sure
yeah.
that you're, you know, I'm assuming you don't have kids.
No.
Right. So, okay, your
Right.
liability is very low, man.
Right. So this is the whole point I'm trying to make. Like
Yes.
I've already built a very comfortable nest for myself. Like for
Great.
me for me to go to work tomorrow or even today and like start making money again, it has nothing to do with that. And for me to kind of like put everything I have on hold,
Mhm.
that entire life on hold, means that I'm really curious about what else is there, if that makes any sense.
It
And
does.
I really thought about, okay, if I'm gonna do something, make the decision now, make the conscious decision now before, like, let's say you're 30 and you got a few mortgages, you got a serious girl, whatever. I, I'm not tied down to anything. So I
Right.
figured this is the good time to do it.
Yeah, it's a it's a great time, absolutely, for you to be doing your discovery and your audit, because let's say in 6 months from now you figure out what that is and you venture off and go do that, and then you spend the next 2 or 3 years head down, working diligently, making a name for yourself. Before you're 30, man, you're sitting pretty. The number one piece of advice that I could give people in their 20s is that you have to be prepared to eat shit for a while,
Oh yeah.
and with a smile on your face, and just know that this is a part of the process, that those scars that you have, you're going to look back and be like, it was worth it. and
100%.
and that is, you have to go in there humbly and know that you got to like I said, cut your teeth, and it's going to be a rough go, right? Especially if you're going down the entrepreneurship path, where like that guaranteed paycheck after every 2 weeks, it's not going to be there anymore, right? So it's really
Yeah.
going to test your grit, your perseverance. Uh, but for me, I wouldn't have my life any other way. Um, so yeah.
I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, like, I I'm almost I've always been the type of person that's like created my own jobs, and I got a lot of fulfillment out of that. And I know tomorrow with my qualifications I can get a 9 to 5 job.
Hmm.
I don't I don't put myself on a pedestal where I think I am better than that, but at the same token, I'm not sure if that kind of lifestyle would be for me. But if there was an opportunity that I thought would teach me the necessary things, like the necessary information, kind of like you worked at 1-800 Got Junk, but that was your education. So
Hmm.
I don't mind working somewhere, but as long as the experience is going to be like worth worthwhile. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be a dead end thing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure at a lot of jobs, you can take a lot of different things from there. If that
One
makes
thing
sense.
that One thing that I advocate to companies is that you need to have a balance between meaning and money. And what I mean by that is that organization just can't give Massimo money and expect him to be engaged. They have to give him some sort of meaning that is more than money. So, for example, at 1-800 Got Junk, my meaning at that company was they were teaching me entrepreneurship. And I was like, I can't believe this company is paying me to learn. Of course, I contributed to their success in the ways that I could, so they got a fair shake as well. But I wouldn't dismiss working for an organization that you feel like, you know what, maybe this isn't the industry that I expected to be in, but I'm learning so much, and I'm going to take that education and use that as a springboard to the next thing. Like, do you think I grew up picturing myself working in a call center, answering 100 calls a day, where some of my shifts started at 4 a.m. for a garbage company? Of course not, right?
Yeah.
Like, I never drew that
Yeah.
up. But what
Right.
I did consciously know is that I wanted to start a business one day. And one of the things that you have to remember is that you have to learn before you earn. Very few people can just build an app and be like, I'm a billionaire, right? Like, there's what,
Yeah.
like Instagram turned into $1 billion company after a year and a half or so. Um, so learn before you earn is one of the biggest takeaways that I can share with younger professionals as well too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so
100%.
much to learn. Like, that's the thing, is that a lot of companies aren't built this way, right? Like, I want to build a company, and we've done this, where we teach our employees how to read a P&L statement. Like, what's a balance sheet? How do you create a marketing plan for a restaurant? How do you do all this, right? And expose them to that education. And I'm not worried about our team members leaving, right? Like, if they leave smarter than when they joined us, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that you perhaps could do. Like, I know Shopify is like massive, not just in size, but just, I mean, like, big on education. There's while there might not be an abundance of them that truly care to educate team members on how to build a business, there are a few out there. So that very well could be an avenue that you explore, and be like, you know what, for a year, I'm going to join this company. I'm going to earn some bank. I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to do that next thing. I'm going to open that pizzeria. I'm going to open that whatever, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
sick. Like, I'm certain that whatever you choose to do, if you told 5 people today, they'd be like, "What?" Right? Like, and that's fine, right? Because at the end of the day, it's what you have to live with. It's your life, it's your purpose, and nobody can dictate what that is other than yourself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a matter of finding the right company and like I guess having the same values.
Do you feel pressure to come to your conclusion, or you're discovering kind of what your purpose is, or do you know that this is just a part of the process?
I know it's part of the process, but I have a lot of people that are like, dude, like, why did you just stop everything? Like, why did you, like, is everything okay? Like,
Sure.
why did you just stop your job? Why did you like give up? Why did you give up what you gave up? And I'm just like, hey man, that job's gonna be there for me. Like, I'm not overly concerned about it. And so I almost have like I'm listening to other people, what they have to say.
Hmm.
Like I'm hearing what they have to say, but I know I have to take it with a grain of salt because this is my journey and I'm the one that made this decision. I
Hmm.
have to live with it. So yeah, I do feel some external pressure. I do feel that. But at the end of the day, I know I have to tune out those voices
Hmm.
and have to go with what feels right for me.
Yeah, essentially what you're doing is just recalibrating yourself. It would appear that you weren't happy with where you're at, and you've hit the pause button, and that's fine. You have a lifetime ahead of you.
Hmm.
What, I commend you for doing that, because a lot of people are living within careers that they don't like. And I'm certain that if they had a do-over, they would be doing what you're doing right now. And I met with another person just yesterday, very similar position that you're in right now. She was going to be taking this role, and she had to tell the company if she was going to take this role for October 1st. And she was on the fence. And when I met with her, I was like, "You don't seem like you're jacked up about this role." And she's like, "I'm not." I was like, "Well, what industries would you want to be in, or what does that change look like?" And she explained it. And I was like, "Well, then turn down the role, right? Even if you don't have the next thing lined up, just sit and recalibrate yourself and take meetings and have calls and help use that time to find out what you really want to do." Now, be grateful that you are in this position where you can hit pause, right? There's a lot of people that can't because they have a mortgage, they have kids, they have rent, they have all this stuff, right? So be grateful that you are in this position where you can kind of reset yourself,
Yeah.
um, and you have time to meet with people like myself and others and ask for advice and some guidance, and then take everything that has been shared with you and just make a decision, right? And the decision doesn't have to come to you tomorrow, nor do you need to feel stressed out about it. It's like the person that hasn't gotten married yet who's like, "Oh my God, I got to get married soon." Like, on whose accord, right? Like, just, that's the recipe for disaster.
Cool, man.
Has this been helpful for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, getting insight from people who have obviously who have built businesses and who have started kind of at the bottom and figured their way out. It's refreshing to hear because like I know it's possible for me. If it's possible
Mhm.
for you, it's possible for me too.
I'll
Uh,
share. I'll share this with you. Like, I genuinely don't believe I have any extraordinary talents. Um, but what I do know that I have in spades is that I don't give up easily. I have a lot of grit and perseverance, and so that is why I think some people will reach out to me, is because like, hey, he's just a normal dude. Like, I nothing too extraordinary about me, but I just know that I'm very clear on what my vision is and what I want my life to look like. And I'll exhaust every opportunity. I'll try to break down every single wall to be able to accomplish those goals. Now, I don't bat at 1,000. I don't, hit every single goal.
But at least you know what it looks like, because
100%.
every single day you're like chipping away at it, and you're like, you feel one step closer, and you know you're on your purpose right now.
Yeah.
You know you're on your purpose. It feels good. It feels good even to fail. Like, you just know that
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing.
One thing that gets me really excited is thinking about big goals where I'm like, wow, like that is going to be really hard to hit. But I always come back to something as simple as telling myself, why not me? If it has been done before in history, why not
Absolutely.
me? Right? Like the next thing that I go and do, my next business in 2020, which I'm keeping my cards close for now, it's been done before many times, but it's still a very large goal. But I just keep telling myself, why not me? Why not me? Right. And I think everybody should have that mentality. Um, I'm no superior than someone else. And if I was in the room with a billionaire or somebody who's built a global brand that I admire, I'm like, why not me? Right. And it's a great mentality to have. It's refreshing and keeps you level headed and it keeps you focused.
And it's probably by people who are no smarter than you.
Probably not, right? Like, some of the great business professionals of the world, like, have ADD or dyslexic. Like Richard Branson, like, can barely read, and he's a multi-billionaire that people admire and respect. So, to your point, you know what, I don't think I'm smarter than the next person, and I don't think the next person's much smarter than me. Of course, there are outliers where there's absolute bona fide geniuses that
Yeah.
would IQ me off this planet. But what else do I have? I know that I am a strong leader. Um, I know that I can get people to follow me in the right respect, and that's my strength. So that's what I'm going to bring to the table, with the mentality of why not me, and I think I can do it. And I pass along that same message to you, like, why not me? Why can't I do this? Right? Why can't I be in 5 years, 30 years old, running a multi-million-dollar business, or whatever it is that you want to accomplish? Like, I know somebody that is 21, has raised millions of dollars, and when I ask him, like, what do you want to do, like, with your after this business, or what's the deal, he wants to get into Broadway theater, like something completely opposite from what he is doing today. And that just kind of goes to show that, like, you don't have to go down a path that is common. You might want to do something for the next 5 years, but then after that, you might want to do something else, and that's fine. You don't have to have a career that's the same thing for 30 years, right? But for today, do what I told you and just try to identify those moments where you're most happy, where you're super engaged, and even if you weren't getting paid, you would still do it.
Hmm. Even the little things, right?
Yeah, for example, I am my most engaged when I have calls like this. I am my most engaged when I'm hosting a workshop. I am my most engaged when I'm hosting a meeting with our team. I'm not engaged when I'm building PowerPoint presentations, right? So I punt that. I get somebody else to do it, right? So I've built kind of my career around only doing things that I want to do. Now, keep in mind, that wasn't always the case. I earned the ability to pick and choose what I want to do. I ate shit for years and years and years and years. So you have to be willing to do that with a smile on your face and just know that's a part of that growth. process,
100%.
right?
I don't feel entitled to just jump steps. I'm not.
Sweet. That's good. Right
Yeah.
mentality. Awesome. I got a dip. I hope this was helpful for you.
Thank you very much. It
And
was,
keep
man.
me up to date with what's going on with everything that you're working on, okay?
Thank you very much,
All
right?
right. Later, brother. Have a good rest of the week, okay?
You too, man. Take care.
Yeah, man. Bye.